Hello, it's Lara.
Yeah.
I'm this sassy, squatchy person. His name is Victor.
Go ahead, continue.
I'm sorry, it's so good.
I'm waiting.
What are you waiting for? For me to just jump right in?
Clearly.
I love
Clearly,
how pissed you look right now. This is amusing. Okay, since Victor's glaring at me, we'll just I can't continue if you're gonna keep.
I don't know why she's not continuing with us.
Okay. I need to calm down. Okay. Welcome back to Look Mormon VS Zen Zephyr and whatnot. Today we're reading the first book of Nephi, chapter 8. Will you fucking stop? I cannot keep my composure with you doing that. Ugh. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna start now.
Chapter 8. Lehi sees a vision of the tree of life. He partakes of its fruit and desires his family to do likewise. He sees a rod of iron, a straight and narrow path, and the mists of darkness that enshroud men. Sariah, Nephi, and Sam partake of the fruit, but Laman and Lemuel refuse.
And it came to pass that we had gathered together all manner of seeds of every kind.
In this chapter, you're going to learn about the rod, which, just to give some preface for the actual religion, is the rod is seen as like the straight and narrow path, and you need to hold steadfast to the iron rod to basically go to heaven. Like, I'll explain a little bit more once they get into it, because I don't want to ruin too much of it, because they're going to explain a couple things. But yeah, this is a big part of Mormon religion, just so you guys know. This is like huge for them.
Both of grain of every kind, and also of the seeds of fruit of every kind. And it came to pass that while my father tarried in the wilderness, he spake unto us, saying, Behold, I have dreamed a dream, or in other words, I have seen a vision. And behold...
I love how he has to explain it. Oh, it's a vision, guys.
The funny part is that he elaborated this time around, but the first time that happened, he didn't.
He's like, I just dreamed a dream. And I guess last time, because they gave him some guff about it, he's like, it was a vision, guys. It was a vision. Okay?
Very bad publishing if they didn't proofread all of that and just fixed it in the first place.
Well, I mean, he didn't have anybody edit it. He just he wrote it, and then he published it.
Once again, bad publishing.
Yeah, because he read it, and then, was it Whitmer? I'm going to look up exactly who it was, but there's two scribes. One, I'll go ahead and tell you guys the story real quick. It's really short. The first guy, he, and this kind of this is what a lot of people use for proof that Joseph Smith couldn't read the plates, because they translated, I think it was a good portion, like a full couple chapters of the Book of Mormon, of the gold plates, and the scribe wanted to show it to his family, and there was only one copy at the time. And after bugging Joseph Smith several times, and Joseph Smith was apparently asking God, and God kept saying no, and finally he said yes, which I would think if it was God, he would just be like, dude, I told you no. But he apparently changed his mind. Anyways, so he let the scribe take them to show to his family. And I don't remember the exact details, but they got lost or stolen or something like that. And so instead of rewriting them, just having Joseph Smith just go back to the book and reiterate that section, Joseph Smith was like, no, God has decided since it was lost that people aren't ready for that. Or whatever the excuse was. So we're not going to rewrite that part. So there's apparently a whole section of the Book of Mormon that we just don't even know about. Yeah, and most people are like, oh, that sounds kind of fishy. Like, maybe you just can't remember all of the story that you spat from your mouth because you didn't really read it.
You mean out your ass. But...
yeah. But yeah.
Because of the thing which I have seen, I have reason to rejoice in the Lord because of Nephi and also of Sam. For I have reason to suppose that they and also many of their seed will be saved. But behold, Laman and Lemuel, I fear exceedingly because of you.
Fuck you.
For behold, methought I saw in my dream a dark and dreary wilderness. And it came to pass that I saw a man, and he was dressed in a white robe, and he came and stood before me. And it came to pass that he spake unto me, and bade me follow him. And it came to pass that as I followed him, I beheld myself that I was in a dark and dreary waste. And after I had traveled for the space of many hours in darkness, I began to pray unto the Lord that he would have mercy on me according to the multitude of his tender mercies. And it came to pass, after I had prayed unto the Lord, I beheld a large and spacious field. And it came to pass that I beheld a tree, whose fruit was desirable to make one happy. And it came to pass that I did go forth and partake of the fruit thereof. And I beheld that it was most sweet, above all that I ever before tasted. Yea, and I beheld that the fruit thereof was white, to
diabetes fruit. It's diabetes fruit.
It's sugar, the fruit.
Happiness is diabetes.
I mean, he did say it was white too, so...
Oh!
exceed all the whiteness that I had ever seen. And as I...
Speaking of whiteness.
It exceeded all of the whiteness he had ever seen. And he had seen some white people. Some white ass...
partook of the fruit thereof, it filled my soul with exceedingly great joy. Wherefore I began to be desirous that my family should partake of it also. For I knew that it was desirable above all other fruit. And as I cast my eyes round about, that perhaps I might discover my family also, I beheld a river of water, and it ran along, and it was near the tree of which I was partaking the fruit. And I looked to behold from whence it came, and I saw the head thereof a little way off, and at the head thereof I beheld your mother Sariah, and Sam, and Nephi, and they stood as if they knew not whither they should go. And it came to pass that I beckoned unto them, and I also did say unto them with a loud voice that they should come unto me, and partake of the fruit which was desirable above all other fruit. And it came to pass that they did come unto me, and partake of the fruit also. And it came to pass that I was desirous that Laman and Lemuel should come and partake of the fruit also. Wherefore I cast mine eyes towards the head of the river, that perhaps I might see them. And it came to pass that I saw them, but they would not come unto me and partake of the fruit. And I beheld a rod of iron, and it extended along the bank of the river, and led to the tree by which I stood. And I also beheld a straight and narrow path, which came along by the rod of iron.
I'm sorry, I just really perverted. That's why I didn't pause it. I'm just very perverted.
Even to the tree by which I stood. And it also led by the head of the fountain unto a large and spacious field, as if it had been a world. And I saw numberless concourses of people, many of whom were pressing forward, that they might obtain the path which led unto the tree by which I stood. And it came to pass that they did come forth and commence in the path which led to the tree. And it came to pass that there arose a mist of darkness, yea, even an exceedingly great mist of darkness.
I like how it takes him like a whole paragraph to describe them getting from the rod to just walking towards the tree.
I mean,
he's good at detail. You gotta give me Joseph Smith at least that. He can describe some shit.
when he wants to.
When he yeah, because that's true. By the way, just randomly go in this house and people come with you. Okay, cool.
It's funny how the stuff that's like real life accounts, there's like hardly any descriptions of, but like dreams and visions are just
like,
described in just the
so
utmost
vivid.
detail.
See, those are the days that Joseph Smith smokes like a ton, or like, well, just eats like a ton of mushrooms. Just eats all the mushrooms.
Insomuch that they who had commenced in the path did lose their way, that they wandered off and were lost. And it came to pass that I beheld others pressing forward, and they came forth, and caught hold of the end of the rod of iron, and they did press forward through the mist of darkness, clinging to the rod of iron, even until they did come forth and partake of the fruit of the tree.
And this is why the rod of iron is really important, because it's pretty much like, even if your path is dark and clouded and you don't know what's going on, as long as you basically you hold on to God and you just follow what God would want you to do, then you're going to be fine. You're going to make it through. Which is, a pretty good concept that a lot of religions go by. They just have a more visual representation of it, which is the rod in Lehi's vision. Because it's really dark, and the only way that they find their way back to the tree is via holding on to the rod. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's why it's a huge concept for them, because it's basically what leads them through the darkness.
And after they had partaken of the fruit of the tree, they did cast their eyes about as if they were ashamed. And I also cast my eyes round about, and beheld on the other side of the river of water a great and spacious building, and it stood as it were in the air, high above the earth. And it was filled with people, both old and young, both male and female, and their manner of dress was exceedingly fine. And they were in the attitude of mocking and pointing their fingers towards those who had come at and were partaking of the fruit. And after they had tasted of the fruit, they were ashamed because of those that were scoffing at them, and they fell away into forbidden paths and were lost.
So basically, they're saying that a lot of the more upper society rich people who don't, just prescribe to their religion they usually mock people and make fun of them. They're pretty much in a way glorifying evil and saying it looks beautiful, but it's still bad. They're I don't know if it's a commentary on, the fact that Joseph Smith was poorer, and he, there was just all of these people mocking him.
He had something against high society, I guess,
high society, or if it was more just a commentary on how the devil is always seen as he can seduce you into doing things with worldly goods.
Yeah.
And so these people were very worldly, essentially, and they're mocking the people who are not worldly. And then some of them, even though they tasted the fruit, decided that the opinions of the people who were mocking them were more important than the fruit, or, the word of God or whatever, and they strayed away. So this is pretty much Joseph Smith's way of explaining why some people stop being Mormon, which is essentially not, Mormonism is a crazy religion. No, they care more about society than anything else. So, yeah, because, it's an easy way to explain a lot of things away, rather than just being like, well, maybe this religion isn't right for everybody.
Yeah.
Because, to Mormons, this is the ultimate religion. They take it to the next level. They shame you but in the nicest way possible.
Which is the irony of this vision to begin with. You know,
they shame you, but in the nicest way possible if you try to look outside of the church. Because I know there's a lot of people who, when their children become teenagers, if they want to go to church with one of their other friends, they'll let them. They'll be like, okay, you know, I'll let you experience other things. That's not everybody, of course. But Mormons will not do that. They are like, no, that is evil. You cannot go to any other church because their church isn't true. Only our church is true.
And some sects of Catholicism is that way too.
Yeah, and so a lot of people get shamed and they're told that they're evil or the devil has a hold of them if they even want to even just explore other religions, not to join them, but just to look into them and see what they're about. They're shamed for that and they're told, oh no, you can't do that. Ours is the one and only true religion, which you hear almost constantly every single day. At least I did. We are the one true religion. And if you even want to look into another religion, they're like, no, you can't do that. Why would you want to know about other religions when they're not true? Because I'm curious? But yeah, I'll do a video on that sometime, but yeah. We digress.
And now, I, Nephi, do not speak all the words of my father, but, to be short in writing, behold, he saw other multitudes pressing forward. And they came and caught hold of the end of the rod of iron. And they did press their way forward, continually holding fast to the rod of iron, until they came forth, and fell down, and partook of the fruit of the tree. And he also saw other multitudes feeding their way towards that great and spacious building. And it came to pass that many were drowned in the depths of the fountain, and many were lost from his view, wandering in strange roads. And great was the multitude that did enter into that strange building.
So basically he's saying that the building was essentially like a figment of their imagination. Like it was the manifestation of their wants and desires. And by following their wants and desires rather than, going towards the fruit and what's obtainable, they sought out their desires. But because apparently you can't obtain those desires, they died as a result. So yeah, which I guess is like a representation of basically them not making it to heaven.
Yeah,
because they follow their desires.
Disconnecting from the religion and being unfulfilled as a result because you pursue other earthly desires.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of essentially like for normal religions going to hell, but Mormons don't. They don't really have a hell. I really need to make a video on that. I think that's what I'll do tomorrow. Is I'll make a video on that because that's kind of important. So, explaining at least the basis of how they view God in heaven and whatnot. So.
Yeah, that'd be a nice foundational video, so we could probably do that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll do that tomorrow. All right.
And after they did enter into that building, they did point the finger of scorn at me and those that were partaking of the fruit also, but we heeded them not. These are the words of my father, for as many as heeded them had fallen away. And Laman and Lemuel partook not of the fruit, said my father. And it came to pass, after my father had spoken all the words of his dream or vision, which were many, he said unto us, Because of these things which he saw in a vision, he exceedingly feared for Laman and Lemuel. Yea, he feared lest they should be cast off from the presence of the Lord. And he did exhort them then, with all the feeling of a tender parent, that they would hearken to his words, that perhaps the Lord would be merciful to them, and not cast them off. Yea, my father did preach unto them. And after he had preached unto them, and also prophesied unto them of many things, he bade them to keep the commandments of the Lord, and he did cease speaking unto them.
Now, if I'm correct, he didn't even say anything about Laman and Lemuel in the dream. Like, they just didn't appear. So...
Well, I mean, he said that they were there, but they just didn't partake of the fruit.
Oh,
like, I'm guessing,
okay. Maybe
I'm guessing they were
listening well enough.
Yeah, they were within range somewhere. Like when they appeared was kind of
Just like
oddly
came and
timed,
went. Yeah.
but he said
They didn't take part of it.
yeah, but he did also make the he also mentioned that what he was saying about Lehi was a summary.
Yeah.
He
didn't give like all the details.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not going to give all the details, but this is some of what happened.
Right. Okay, so that was the end of chapter 8. Let's see what we have for chapter 9. This one might be a short one. Yeah, this one's short, so we'll go ahead and cover this one as well. Alright, chapter 9.
Chapter 9. Nephi makes 2 sets of records. Each is called the Plates of Nephi. The larger plates contain a secular history. The smaller ones deal primarily with sacred things.
And all these things did my father see and hear and speak, as he dwelt in a tent in the valley of Lemuel, and also a great many more things which cannot be written upon these plates. And now, as I have spoken concerning these plates, behold, they are not the plates upon which I make a full account of the history of my people. For the plates upon which I make a full account of my people I have given the name of Nephi, wherefore they are called the Plates of Nephi, after mine own name. And these plates also are called the Plates of Nephi. Nevertheless, I have received a commandment of the Lord that I should make these plates, for the special purpose that there should be an account engraven of the ministry of my people.
I ain't vain or anything.
Upon the other plates should be engraven an account of the reign of the kings, and the wars and contentions of my people. Wherefore these plates are for the more part of the ministry, and the other plates are for the more part of the reign of the kings, and the wars and contentions of my people. Wherefore the Lord hath commanded me to make these plates for a wise purpose in him, which purpose I know not. But the Lord knoweth all things from the beginning. Wherefore he prepareth a way to accomplish all his works among the children of men. For behold, he hath all power unto the fulfilling of all his words. And thus it is. Amen.
I love how he knows that there's gonna be kings and wars. Like God was like, oh, by the way, lots of death. That's gonna happen.
Apparently.
Unless he was writing this like after, and it was like he inserted it like
well,
in
the
a more
time
appropriate.
period, the time period's right there.
Yeah,
so.
600 to 592 BC. That's a weird time period. Are they like counting backwards or something?
Well, it's BC because BC
Before
works.
Christ.
Yeah, BC works in reverse basically.
Really? That's so weird.
Yeah, BC. The further back you go, the higher the number. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wouldn't it be? Well, no, that's how it is. The further back you go, the higher. No, never mind. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my dyslexia is kind of.
Yeah,
with my brain.
600's the older time.
But yeah. Anyways, But yeah, it's just. I don't know. Like, I mean, it says that could be like when he wrote the records that he's talking about now.
It's the context of it's kind of weird because it says the larger plates contain a secular history, semicolon, the smaller ones deal primarily with such sacred things, period.
It sounds like he's already written them though.
About 600 to 592 BC.
It sounds like he's already written them and he's just writing this as like, you know, like if you write a book and then later on you're like, oh, I should probably put context to the differences in like this section versus this section.
Maybe we should look into it, just elaborate on it some.
I mean, I'll try to look into it, but the Book of Mormon is just taken so literally that they don't look into stuff like this. They're just like, whatever, you know?
Well, still, I mean,
I'll try to look into it, but I doubt that there's really going to be much information on it.
I mean, we don't necessarily have to do like a detailed comparison of the history of like Jerusalem within that time frame. Just see what the consensus is on like what this time period is for the Book of Mormon. If this is the time period that he's been writing them, or like just the time period that he's covering within the plates. And that's what, because it sounds like the latter, but
yeah, okay.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, I'll probably maybe look and see what time, like, the best way I could do it is maybe go through here and go to the part where they're actually doing the wars and stuff, and see what time period it puts that in, since they do put the time periods. And then if it's, like, the same time period as this, which I doubt it's going to be, because it's been saying it's about 600 BC the whole time, but if it's different, then that probably means that, this was written before that. Or whatever. If it's the same, then this was probably written around the same time or after. So
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it's the latter, but
right. But yeah, we'll research that. So that was chapter 9. It was just short, like Nephi just giving us another briefing on what he's gonna write about. I don't know why he does that so often. He's just like, hey guys, I just want you to know this is different than this, and this is different than that, and this is different from all these other things. Also, war and death. Just randomly. War and death.
Entire chapter.
Entire chapter, just war and death.
I mean, I guess it was just another one of those writing style things that was weird. It was them trying to make things
more organized, I guess.
Yeah, more organized. Try to keep it categorized,
right.
Because it would be really weird if they kind of, I guess, blended in this with like the actual stories that have been going on, unless if there was like, I guess, this time period within the family that he could narrate that, is segued into the making of these records. But it seems like there's no real segue within.
There's really not. He tries to make it seem like there is, but there's really not. Because he talks about real life events and the visions at the same time. And just like godly things that happen versus just stuff that happens, like they
that's
all
not
party and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, that's not too much of an issue. It's just like in this particular case, it's just it seems like there was no explanation of surrounding. Maybe Joseph Smith didn't have a real good way to explain when, and maybe surrounding events that surrounded when Nephi decided he was going to make the record. So he decided to do more of like a narrative approach to it for this chapter, which is why he made a completely different chapter for it.
Right. And definitely all the historians, not really. Anyways, but yeah, so we're just going to end there for today. And next time we will get into chapter 10. Let me see how many more chapters we have for first Nephi. Go back here. Can you work for me, computer? Thanks. That'd be great. It's being slow. 22 chapters in total for first Nephi, and then there's second Nephi, and then we move into other stuff. So yeah. So, yeah, we will be chapter 10 next time. And so, yeah, I'll try to get up a very basic video of how Mormons view the afterlife. I'm not going to go into great detail because that would take me several videos and a lot more research than I want to do, because a lot of that has to do with the temple. And if you guys don't know, the temple is like the super elite Mormons club. You basically have to be just like the best Mormon ever to get into the temple. So
cover it to a degree, but
yeah, I mean, I'll cover the temple to a degree, but there's certain levels of the afterlife that I don't know about because I never got to the temple, and there's not very much information on, because you have to be. There are some videos of some footage in the temple of people who have been really dedicated in infiltrating their way through the church, which is a lot of time and effort and money, I might add, because one of the requirements to get into the temple is that you pay 10% of your income per month. Gross income per month to the church. So these people are very dedicated in showing you exactly what happens in the temple, because they check that stuff. They make sure that you're paying 10% tithing. And that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money, and there has been times when my parents could have fed us versus paying tithing, and they paid tithing instead. So, you know, the church really wraps themselves around you and is like, guess what? If you don't pay your tithing, you can't go to the temple. And the temple is basically glorified as the most amazing place ever in the entire world. And it's as close as you're going to get to the afterlife while you're alive. And if you want to be happy, you have to go to the temple. So...
But that we can cover.
Yeah, that's another video. So, yeah. I'm sorry. Anyways... so that's a brief explanation of that anyways. So next one we will get into chapter 10. I said that already, whatever. Anyways, Patreon, Facebook,
social media,
Twitter's, whatever.
You know the deal.
The things that we're going to set up for the channels.
Yes.
Of the things. Also, we are entertaining an idea. Victor is thinking about doing some gaming videos. Yeah. On the channel, and then if you guys like them, maybe progressing to his own channel, just to make it a little bit easier on us in general, rather than having to do 3 channels.
Yeah, so, since it's essentially like a clusterfuck variety channel.
It's a joint channel.
Yeah. We'll have whatever that you want to see.
Yeah, and then if you guys really like it, then he'll move over to his own channel. That way, it'll just be his gaming.
Yeah, so, I've just had some logistics issues with setting up my channel, so it'll be a little bit more convenient this way, at least for now.
Yeah. Also, it's still going to be a little while because he still needs to get certain softwares to actually, record and everything. Like, he can use my equipment, but the software we use XSplit, by the way. I can only use it on one computer. And, unless he's going to play on my computer while I'm gone, which is not that often. Yeah. So it's still going to be a little while because he'll still have to purchase that software. But yeah, we're just throwing that out there at you guys.
Yeah, we'll keep you up to date on it.
So yeah, that's an idea we have. So we're going to work on that. Anyways, so we will see you guys later. Bye.
See you.